Good morning, viewers. This is Vinay from Dreamdex, and I welcome you to another knowledge base. And today's topic is strategical SEO decisions to make before you start to build your website. And the purpose of this video is to highlight those important SEO factors that needs to be considered and decided before your website is sent to a team of designers and developers to be built. So take an example. When a client asks you for recommendations to improve their organic rankings on search engines, and after all kind of due diligence, technical audit, and competitive analysis, or even you study a whole conversion funnel, and you have to deliver some tough recommendations that you have to redesign your site architecture, or you have to migrate your site altogether, or even rethink your business and marketing strategies because currently you are not providing any significant value to your customers, right? This is typically a scenario when SEO is considered after a website is built and running. As a digital marketing company, we have experienced and not even hard to imagine businesses overlooking this area. And this is not a pre-launch checklist, but rather a list of those important SEO affecting areas that will be hard to change after you build your website. And typically, there are three main areas that you need to consider, or we recommend you to consider. First is to understand your digital competitors. Knowing who you are competing against in the digital space should inform decisions like site architecture, user experience, and outreach. First, you want to identify who you fall under the three main types of competitors. The first one is your search competitors, those who rank for the product or services that you offer. They will compete for the same keywords as you are targeting, but may cater to a completely different intent. The second type of competitors are your business competitors, those that are currently solving the customer problem that you aim to solve. And probably the third one is cross industry competitors, those who that solve your customers problem indirectly. So after you come up with the list of competitor, analyze where each stands and how much operational resources it will take to get where they are. Like what are our competitors' size and performance? How do they differentiate themselves? How strong is their brand? What does their link profile look like? Or are they doing anything different, or anything interesting with their site architecture? So these are some of the questions that you need to ask, while you analyze your competitors. And uh, talking specifically about digital marketing scenario and SEO strategies, there are tools to assist you, like Open Site Explorer, Majestic SEO. There are some licensed tools that can really help you to analyze your competitor, and to identify who's ranking for your targeted keywords. The second area that you need to consider is technical. You know that that probably will avoid your future migration and rebuild. And there are some pointers, like whether you need to go for HTTP or HTTPS. You need to decide on whether you want to use the secure protocol, or you should be okay with your normal protocol. uh, Canonical version of your URLs. Duplicate content issues may arise when Google come across to your, the same piece of the content on your website on multiple URLs. Without one clear version, pages will compete with one another unnecessarily. So take an example: you have a same piece of content um, on two different URL on your website. How Google read it more important than how you intend to present that content on your website. So avoid duplicacy on canonical URLs. Uh, and this is a general scenario. In developers eye, a page is unique if it has a unique ID on your website database, while for search engines the URL is a unique identifier for your content. A developer should be reminded that each piece of content should be accessed via only one URL. So these are little technical and strategical things you need to even um, tell your development team that there should be no canonical URLs. Uh, this one important factor from technical aspect is site speed. Developers are under so much of pressure to deliver code on time and might neglect areas affecting page speed. Communicate the importance of page speed from the start and put in time in the brief to optimize site's performance. So you need to tell this very clearly to your development team. You need to decide whether if you have your website content for different countries, so you need to decide whether to go with the a multilingual website, whether to have a subdomain for different locations, or you should have a subfolder within your website domain. So using separate country level domains gives an advantage of being able to target a country or language more closely. This approach, however, you know it may require a lot of resources and maintain the infrastructure. So if you plan to go down to the route of multiple location or multilingual country based content, typically the best approach is subfolders. So for example, your website is abc.com, so you need to have abc.com slash USA slash UK slash India and so on. Subfolders can run from one platform or one CMS, which means that development setup or maintenance cost is significantly lower. Then the one probably a natural aspect of technical perspective is ease of editing and flexibility in the platform. So Google tend to update their recommendation and requirement all the time. Your platform needs to be flexible enough to make changes at the scale of on your website. So typically CMS application does it, and they provide that flexibility with the patches they release every now and then. That should cover most of the points in technical aspect, but there are design areas to consider in order to avoid future redesign. And the first and foremost is probably the architecture and internal linking. An effective information architecture is critical if you want search engine to be able to find your content and serve it to the user. If crawlers, the Google crawler or any other search engine crawler cannot access the content, they cannot rank it well. From a human point of view, informational architecture is important so the users can easily find what they are looking for. Where possible, you should look to create a flat site structure that will keep pages no deeper than 4 clicks from the home page. So it's more like usability, from the user perspective, as they allow search engines the user to find content in as few clicks as possible. So there is no point that you provide a content, especially from the call to action perspective, that they need to click more than 3 or 4 times to find what they're looking for on your website. So use keyword and competitor research to guide which page you should have. However, the way pages should be grouped and connected should be user focused. So don't, as we recommend, that you should not be pretty much search engine focused even if you're running a search engine campaign. Ultimately, you have to be user focused all the time, although you have to grab those strategies to please Google and other search engines as well, but the main thing that you need to remain user focused for better usability and better conversion. Content first design. So this is kind of pretty important, and consider what types of content you will host. Will it be large sort of guides and white papers for your customers, or like a video library? Your content strategy need to be mapped out at this point to understand what format you will see enhance what kind of functionality this will require. knowing what content type you will be producing with the help of designing page types and create more consistent user face. So there might be case studies in your website. There might be you know, some image libraries on it. So you need to decide the template. I mean, take an example of WordPress. There is a templating system, so you need to be clearly knowing at the point at the start that you know what kind of template you're looking for better usability and you know, overall creating a interface that pleases your customer base. And then one of the important technical aspect, it's more connected to design, but it's technical as well at the same time, is machine readability and structured data, right? So your web pages might use a variety of technologies such as you know, JavaScript, Flash, or you know, Ajax, that can be hard for crawlers to understand. Although, I mean, as a designer, they may be necessary. You feel that they may be necessary to provide a better user experience, because of course, using JavaScript, using a Flash provide, you know, animation type, you know, that pleases your user and create that user experience that you want to show to your customers. Uh, in that case, you need to be aware of the issues these technologies can cause in order to improve your site machine readability, mark up your pages with structured data as described you know, by your development team, and you know, overall recommendations by your team. So you need to make sure what are your priorities. You know, a better user experience is good, but machine readability is important too. Responsive design is also one of the important factor to you know, in order to remain usable, as we see more variations in devices and their requirement, along with shifting behavior pattern of mobile device uses. You know, you know that mobile is becoming less of a separate channel and instead is becoming an underlying technology for a separate uh, you know, separate type of accessing your web. Therefore, a long-term goal should be to create a seamless and consistent user experience across all devices. In the interest of this goal, responsive website, responsive design, and dynamic serving methods can assist with creating device-specific experiences. So it's one site for all the devices, but you need to create a strategy and a blueprint how you are intended to show those websites on different devices. It can be a different experience altogether on a mobile, you know, than a general user on a computer. As a closing thought, you know, as a business owner or someone responsible for launching a website, you have a lot in your plate, to be honest. You know, a website design process seems pretty easy at first, you know, at first glance, and you may realize that website building is just like, you know, giving content and some insight to your team, and you're sorted. But believe me, you have a lot on your plate. It is probably not the best use of your time to go down, you know, to go down the rabbit hole reading all about implementing structured data to other technical aspects of it, because you, by the time you know that, you know, it's like you need to be prepared for feature plannings about your website, your digital marketing campaign, or you know, other campaign you might run on your website, and scalability, you know. So there are a lot of things to consider, you know, from structured data to technical aspect, design strategies. So it might be a, it might always be a good idea to hire a consultant who can actually guide your, even your development team, to make a strategy around your website content. And this video is just a small effort to give you an insight of important areas that you should be aware of while you ask someone to create your website. So, you know, create a good strategy before even you think about you know, hiring a development team. I hope this video helped you to, you know, to start your website and you know, promote your content on the web. If you have any question, just leave a comment and be in touch with us. We should be happy to answer all your queries. Have a good day. Thank you.